What's up? This is Malice and 10 coming to you with another video. So, I was having a conversation with a few friends and we was talking about great rap artists. So, they had the nerve to say that Jay-Z was one of the great rappers. Knowing me, I highly disagree with that. And I'm going to explain why. I'm going to take you back to 1996. Now, in 1996, Jay-Z wasn't really talked about. I mean, of course, the only way you really act outside of New York, of course, the only way that you actually heard about Jay-Z was through Tupac dissing him. And we was like, who is this Jay-Z character? Tupac get at him, right? But in 96, because if you ask people what is Jay-Z's best album, everyone will automatically say Reasonable Doubt. Now, they consider that one of his best albums ever. Now, back in the day, 1996, the album outside of New York, let me get that straight, outside of New York was not talked about. Why? Because he wasn't mainstream then. He wasn't mainstream at all. He was local. Now, the only reason why people heard of Illmatic is because it breached past New York and went everywhere because Illmatic was one of the best Nas albums ever. Now, we're not talking about Nas right now, but Jay-Z. Now, they had big hitters in the game back then. 1996, you had Tupac, you had Biggie, you had Bone Thugs and Harmony, you had Nas, you had all these other people being talked about, but Jay-Z was not one of them at all. Now, the reason why I can't really mention Reasonable Doubt is because that only became a cult classic later on during his years. Now, tell you the truth, the first time people actually started hearing worldwide about Jay-Z was in 98. 98. And that's when Jay-Z released Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. Now, that is when you actually start hearing about him. Now, in 98, the only reason why you start hearing about Jay-Z was because Tupac was dead and Biggie was dead. So the two main hip-hop mongols, biggest rappers was gone. So who else did they have to actually count on? So they literally went towards Jay-Z. So in 98, that's when he came out with the hits. Can I get a what? He came out with that. Then he came out, it's a hard not life for us. It's a hard not life for us. Come on. That's when you actually really heard of him. And then he also came out with Nigga What? Nigga Who? So, you barely heard of Jay-Z until 1998. He came out with in 97 with the first volume in My Lifetime, Volume 1, because the other one that I mentioned was Volume 2. So he was 2 albums in before people actually heard of him. So he came out with My Sunshine, which a lot of people don't remember. The City Is Mine, a lot of people don't remember. Wishing on a Star, a lot of people don't remember that. Why? Because he wasn't talked about. He wasn't popular like that. Now, in 97, um, you had other people overshining him. You had Busta Rhymes coming out. That's when people started really hearing about Busta Rhymes. I mean, you heard about him in A Tribe Called Quest, and uh, wait, was that a tribe? I believe it was Tribe Called Quest. But that's when during that time, Jay Z wasn't really talked about. It was Busta Rhymes. Now, that's 97. If you go back, who was the king of New York? Who was becoming the king of New York? And the main New York artist talked about during that time, who made it mainstream worldwide. That would be your boy DMX. DMX. Because in um 98, I believe, that's when DMX released his first album. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. One of the best albums. It blew up tremendously. So, I'm gonna talk about DMX in a later one, because DMX is actually one of my favorite artists, because his artist storytelling was just excellent. Now, another reason why I don't consider Jay-Z great and that he's very overrated is because most of his rhymes were bitten off of other great artists. So he always says he's paying homage, but there's other ways to pay homage besides stealing the man verse word for word, different artist verses word for word. Like, come on. You could easily mention the person's name, a shout out to that person. And he, if you remember, what's his name? Cameron from Dipset, when Jay-Z and him was beefing. He released the song, I'm Not a Writer, I'm a Biter. I'm not a writer, I'm a biter. And it had clips of almost every single song he made. And it was Jay-Z biting off of different other artists. And most of them was from Biggie, his so-called mentor, which really wasn't. It was Jazzo. And Jazzo actually the one that gave him the flow and everything. But if we look at it, when Jay-Z started out, he started rapping quick. He was a fire spitter, just spit like Twister spit. Now, if you look closely, in 94 is when Illmatic was released, and Nas came out with the slick flow, talking real slick and everything. That's when Jay-Z decided, he saw how much notary that he got in the hood, and then he decided to copy off of Nas. So he slowed down his rap, started rapping a little bit slicker and everything like Nas. So he tried to be like Nas. So throughout his whole career, he always mimicked another rapper. Now, when it comes to his credibility in the street, there's a lot of videos out there from people who knew Jay-Z back in the day saying that Jay-Z was never about that life. He always rapped from the perspective of his friends doing everything, and he just was standing around watching, and he accepted that persona almost like Chris Rock up in that movie. I forgot the name of that movie, but when he MC Gusto, he tried to act like MC Gusto, stealing people's identity and rapping it as their own. So that's what Jay-Z was. He was never about that life. The only way he got about that life is later on in life when he actually got money and started pulling people in. But as far as getting notarization in the streets and everything, he started pulling people in. He was like, okay, I gotta make myself look hard and everything. But Jay-Z was never hard. And I know people from New York, older cats from New York, who even says Jay-Z wasn't about that life. So to me, Jay-Z is overrated. I mean, come on, you can't really label him as being one of the greats and everything because most of his stuff was bitten. And then Nas said it best. Eminem bit him on his own shit. So that song is called Renegade, where like this what really pissed me off about Renegade. If you actually listen to the song, the title of the song is Renegade. That means you're an outlaw. You're going against the grains. If you actually listen to it and listen to Jay-Z parts, it resembles nothing about a renegade at all. You out there listening like, what does that got to do about? I don't get it. But when Eminem gets on, you could see like renegade and like he really going against the grains and testing the limits and everything. That's why you could say that Eminem chewed him up on that album. But Jay-Z was never a high quality rapper to me. I think just because Tupac and Biggie was gone, they had to find somebody to fill their void. And somebody who looked more business-like and everything. Because, tell you the truth, the real song that blew Jay-Z was Pimpin', Big Pimpin'. That's what really made it mainstream for him, Big Pimpin'. But that was with the help of UGK, Southern rappers who actually helped Jay-Z blow up into other states, Southern states, because at that time it was so hard for Southern rappers to get into the New York atmosphere for them to be accepted. But if you look at the timeline in 98, DMX was the actual king of New York. He held New York down. So when people start talking, saying that Jay-Z is one of the greats, go back, listen to his albums, and actually, truthfully, tell me that Jay-Z is a great artist. And I doubt that you can do it. All right. This is Malice Intent. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the notification below. And I just told you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Peace.